One of the men charged with killing those two Kansas moms says he's sorry. The bodies of Veronica Butler and Jillian Kelly were found last month buried in rural Oklahoma. 5 suspects have now been charged with first-degree murder and kidnapping in the case. They are Tad Cullum, Tiffany Adams, Cole and Cora Twombly, who were all arrested first. And then 11 days later, a 5th suspect, Paul Grice, confessed to his involvement in the planning of the 2 deaths. The motive for the murders? A custody dispute over Kelly's 2 children. Kelly's one of the victims. Tiffany Adams, the alleged mastermind behind the murder plot, is the children's paternal grandmother. Grice has admitted to participating in the killings and the burial of the bodies. All 5 of these people charged are members of an anti-government group known as God's Misfits. Earlier today, Paul Grice spoke to NewsNation senior national correspondent Brian Entin as he was being led into the courthouse for a bond hearing. Brian joins me now from outside the courtroom in Oklahoma. Brian, I was surprised he actually answered your questions.
Yeah, I was surprised too, Elizabeth. You know, we always try to ask questions when these suspects go in and out of court, especially if we can get close to them, which we could here in this small town because they walk the suspects right through the parking lot. I wasn't expecting him to respond, and he actually responded to me. He's facing serious charges, obviously, murder and kidnapping. And when you think about that kidnapping charge, it shows that these moms were not just killed right away. They were taken somewhere. We confirmed with the medical examiner they were not shot, and we believe it was a brutal killing. But listen to what he said to me right as he was going into the courthouse today. Paul, is there anything you want to say to the victims' families?
Sorry for their loss.
Anything you want to say to your family?
I miss them.
So he said that he misses his family, Elizabeth. When he came out of the courthouse, I asked him about God's Misfits. I said, is there anything you want to say about that group, God's Misfits, that police say you were a part of? That time he did not respond. He just looked straight ahead and went right to the police cruiser. Elizabeth?
You know, Brian, one of the surprising things about this group of 5 people now charged in the murders of these 2 moms is that they were prominent leaders in the community. Talk a little bit about the positions of prominence that some of them had.
Yeah, that's really the most unbelievable thing. Everybody knew them. We learned the Twombleys, the couple that were charged with murder. Cole Twombly was the president of the 4-H club. His wife was the secretary of the 4-H club. Tiffany, Grandma Tiffany, she of course was the chairperson on the GOP committee here. She was also on the hospital board at one point. Tad Cullum, very successful businessman, we're told, who was quite wealthy and owned a lot of land. And yeah, they all, like I said, Paul Grice, by the way, you know, family man, farmer, rancher, has kids. So that's why I think so many people here were so shocked when they were all charged with the murders.
I just don't understand how 5 people who look like they're winning in the lottery of life get together and decide they're going to brutally murder 2 women who are mothers out of the blue. None of them have ever done anything, I mean, been accused of doing anything like this before.
Yeah, the only person, and listen, we've been talking to people for weeks. They have nice things to say about everyone except for one person, and that is Grandma Tiffany Adams. That is the one where we hear over and over again, well, she had a crazy side. I heard a crazy story today about how she pulled a gun on a plumber she wasn't happy with. She would chase people off her property. So she's the one that we believe is the mastermind based on all the evidence we've seen so far, and she's the one based on all the people in town telling us that kind of had more of a crazy, wild side to her.
But she must have had an enormous amount of sway over that group, God's Misfits, or at least these 4 members, to convince all these fine, upstanding citizens that let's go brutally murder. This was not an easy, quick murder. If they're charged with kidnapping, we know they weren't shot. We know that it was a bloody crime scene. This wasn't a quick, easy killing or and something done from a great distance. I just don't understand it.
Yeah, and we're told that she could also be quite manipulative. So manipulation may have had something to do with it. People are very, very interested in whether or not more people are going to be charged, Elizabeth. There were more members of God's Misfits, we know, at least 12 to 15 from what we're told in this area. Did other people know about the murder?
Wow.
They are telling us it is still an open investigation, so we're just going to have to wait and see.
Thanks so much for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.